Stroying Holmes, inside it and stacking the box, joined now by four-time Super Bowl champion and a man whose accomplishments read like a Leo Tolstoy book, Joe Montana. Joe, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Appreciate your time today.
I do want to give a huge shout out because you're doing a really cool thing here. Because for anyone 65 and older, I know there takes some preparation as you get a little older for especially this time of year, right? It gets a little colder. You got to try and stay. What are you doing to try and stay healthy?
Well, one of the things that's been nice, my partnership with Pfizer and trying to get the word out about, when I turned 65, I found out that I became more at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease. And one of the things that I've been trying to do is stay proactive on my health as I get older. And I found that it's easy to help prevent this with simple vaccination. And so as we continued to talk about it, it was one of those things that, hey, it's not just for 65 and older, and it's not just for the fall. You start learning that, hey, if you're 19 to 64 and you have underlying conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at a higher risk. And this is something that can affect you any time of the year. Doesn't really matter. And it's just been fun being a part of something that we're helping people try to stay healthy. They've put together a great website called vaxassist.com, and that's vaxassist.com. A lot of great information, and you can even schedule your vaccination through the website if you like. So hopefully we're getting the message out there for people to go, hey, look, go find out your risk. Go to your doctor, go to your pharmacist, or you can jump on that website and get a lot of information and find out whether you're at an increased risk or not, and be able to get a vaccination, and hopefully we can prevent some of this disease of spreading.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm really glad you're helping out with that. Definitely a huge positive right there. I do want to ask you maybe the most random question you've ever been asked. I promise you this is going somewhere, Joe. Okay, I promise. There is a tiny town in Montana. It was called Ismay, Montana. It got changed to Joe Montana. We're in Kansas City, right? Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is where it gets interesting. So my mom was actually on air. She was one of the main radio personalities who was actually behind that change. So for me, this is a full circle moment. My mom helping get a town changed to Joe, and then now I'm
That's
interviewing
crazy.
Joe Montana. So I thought it was pretty small world, right?
Yeah, it is. We actually flew anyone who wanted to come down from the town into one of the games. So we didn't get a full house, but we got a handful of people that decided to come. So that was fun.
Yeah, it was about a town of 19 folk or something like that. And all of a sudden,
Yeah,
well, Joe, how many people can say they have a town named after you? I mean, that's pretty cool right there.
I think they changed it back after we lost.
I'm here in Kansas City actually right now, and one of those stories, right, that comes out was that when you were signing with Kansas City, they sent you three jerseys allowing you to pick your number. They sent you number 3, Jan Stenerud's, 16, obviously Lynn Dawson, and number 19. You went with 19, but was there ever a thought of you picking 3 or 16?
Yeah, long stories on both, so I won't get into them. But the reason I picked 19 was the number I wore at Pop Warner growing up. And everybody said, well, maybe it's a combination of 3 and 16 is 19. But basically, um, I have a picture of me in a night red, actually red and white, sort of like the Chiefs, in a 19. So that's why I went with that.
Uh,
Obviously, Lenny's number was retired, so I've made it easy decisions.
yeah. As the Chiefs try for the three-peat this season, you had a chance for the three-peat winning in 88 and 89, heading into 90. Things were looking solid. Obviously, the injury derailed it in 1990. But what were some of the challenges that really came trying for that three-peat?
Well, I think the one thing about the game is, especially now because the season's longer, is physically it gets demanding every time you get into the playoffs. And now if you take it all the way to the Super Bowl like they've done, physically, it's hard to stay healthy that third season. And it's nothing really that you can point at other than, it's a physical game and your body needs rest, and you just don't have the opportunity to get it. And you hope that if you get injuries, they come earlier in the season rather than later. And when guys start missing game, and here it's not about trying to win your division. Yeah, you'd like to do that, but for those guys, you just want to get back in the playoffs somehow, some way. And obviously they're off to a pretty good start, so I don't foresee that happening. But you never know how the season goes. It's a crazy game, but they're fun to watch. I know that.
They're obviously getting their injuries out of the way early, it seems like, with Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Isaiah Pacheco. Maybe they'll be back come postseason time. You've said some really glowing things about obviously Arrowhead in general, but the Chiefs fans. I know when you came to Kansas City, Marty tried to give you a little pep talk of, no, this is going to be a little different, Joe. What do you remember of that coming to Kansas City and just the Arrowhead fans as well?
It's crazy. I mean, it's the only way to say it. They are. I mean, there are a lot of great fans, I'm sure, around the NFL, but the stadium is just different, and I don't even know how to explain it. But running out to the field for the first time was a lot different than I expected. And because I said, Marty, I've been to 4 Super Bowls, so I mean, it's got to be kind of comparable. He goes, no way, you'll see. He goes, I can't put my finger on it, but it's different. And then at the end, he goes, then something's going to give you the chills. That'll give you the chills all the time. As when they finished the national anthem and the whole stadium yells Chiefs. I think about it today, you still get it. So, but a fun place to play. The people were awesome. And, like Jennifer said, while we were there, we had, the cul-de-sac we lived on was awesome. The people were very, welcoming but she goes, and they have a great concept of the game and understanding that, hey, you're not going to win them all. And so you lose a game, it's like, hey, okay, we got them. We'll be back next week. We didn't want to lose, but hey, there's still more games and we're going to be all right. And the atmosphere shows that in the stadium too. They were behind you all the way. It was a fun place to play. I should not have left there. I should have tried to play that my last year there.
Hey, I like that. I like that. It always smells good heading into the stadium too. The wafting smell of barbecue, huh?
Well, it makes you not want to go in, but hey, I'll be out in a little bit. Catch up to warm-ups in a minute. I want to go get some barbecue out there. Yeah, those are pretty good tailgates going on.
When it comes to the playoffs, I mean, you're the pinnacle. You were able to have your best performances in, not just the playoffs, but final drives even. How were you able to do it then? How were you able to stay so calm when the lights were the brightest?
I don't know if it was calm because, we always have butterflies a little bit. But it was the thing that usually when you get behind like that, so a couple of reasons. One, you're probably the reason that you are behind. So you got to find a way to dig out. But you always when you get into the 2-minute drills, you usually go backwards, right? You're not trying new stuff and you're not trying to need to score right away. We always went the opposite direction. And we ran plays that we put in day one in training camp. So everyone didn't think a lot about all the adjustments. They already knew it. And so it just seemed to make, I don't want to say it made the game easier but it made your reactions a little bit quicker because you run the play so many times. So you didn't have to think about, what's the adjustment here? This defense and the receivers didn't have, because our receivers made a bunch of adjustments on routes all the time. So they didn't have to think about it either.
Well, they lead to the nickname Comeback Kid, which leads me into my question here. What do you prefer, Joe Cool or Comeback Kid?
I'll take Joe Cool. One better than Comeback Kid.
Well, now it's Comeback Man, right? You've graduated. Now it's Comeback Man.
I wish I had a comeback in me.
Does Notre Dame need to join a conference? Because obviously you went to Notre Dame, you won there, but do they need to join a conference? They're one of 3 teams left in the FBS.
I don't think they'll join. I just think that, the revenue that they get from their own TV package is probably to a point, and this is just a guess of mine,
Yeah.
To a point that's really tough to share, with 10 other teams or 11 or 12, whatever it is. Because yeah, does it hurt them? Probably when it comes down to playoffs. They don't have that extra game, and even if they try to add one, it's still not the same. That people don't look at it the same as if it's a championship game of a conference. So I think it hurts them there, but I think it still stuffs their pockets a little bit more than normal.
Yeah.
So I don't see that changing for a while. I could be wrong, but that's just my.
Yeah. In regard to the 49ers, obviously they've been very, very successful. They have an elite team, a great head coach, but there's this national split in regards to Brock Purdy. There's this split of he's putting up great numbers, but look at all these weapons around him. Why do you think it's so hard for people to wrap their head around that maybe Brock Purdy is just a great quarterback and he's helping to elevate this 49ers team?
I think people get lost in where people are drafted, what I mean? Because he was Mr. Irrelevant, so they say. I can show you as many busts in the first round of every draft as you're going to see successes from the last round. And that no one's figured out the draft yet. I mean, there isn't some science, and they put all these guys through all these drills, and mainly for the combine. And for me, the only reason I see this happen because I think it's for the NFL to make money. That's not. I mean, they have linemen running squares. I don't think I've ever seen a lineman run a square out on the field unless he got hit in the head too hard. But for most cases, a lot of these things. I mean, you put the bench press on my chest, I might still be laying there. So it wasn't like there's too many. They've lost the sight of turning on the videos and watch and try to assess, I think. But even then, it's still hard. The transition is so different. I don't think there's a science to it. And I think that's part of what's happened with Brock is that, because he went to a team, he went to a good team. Hey, he was fortunate. But, you can say the same. Well, look at the team that Steve inherited when I left. He had all the weapons that he needed. Yeah. Or you can go down the line. I mean, go back with the Cowboy teams, they had some great weapons. You go back to the Giants. I mean, you can go back anywhere you say anyone. I mean, look around the teams now. There are great weapons all over the place, the teams that are winning. And so I think people hold that against him instead of watching how he plays the game. And every so he's a game manager. But all quarterbacks are game managers, and you have to understand when the time is to take a risk and when it isn't. And like Bill used to say, hey, we had a great defense. It's okay to punt. I'd rather you punt than throw a 40-yard interception because it feels different to the team, of the opposing team. You intercept the pass, different feel on the sideline than if you're just receiving a punt. So I think he's done that very well. He spreads the ball around. He's quick to get the ball out of his hand. And, when you can get the ball to those weapons, the sooner the better. I mean, if you watched Brady years ago, he had guys underneath, weapons to go deep, but same thing, ball out of his hand and let those guys run and do something with the ball after the catch. And that's part of the game these days.
Final question before I let you go here. You obviously have a ton of fans. Joe Montana has a ton of fans. But what are you a fan of? It could be a book, an author, a band, a movie. What are you a fan of?
I'm a fan of sports, I guess, in general. I love watching them all, from baseball, basketball, football, soccer, hockey. I mean, when it comes down to it, I love. I don't know. I just think sports does such a great thing, not only for kids growing up, but for, I think, the whole population in general. It's just something that you can enjoy, put all your troubles behind you, and watch something entertaining other than a movie. I like movies too, but I don't get me wrong. But I think sports is just it's fun because it's real and it's live.
Yeah. Again, finally, appreciate it. 4-time Super Bowl champion, Joe Montana. Final thought of where people can go to help themselves get protected this year.
Yeah, you can go to the website, vaxassist.com, and that's vaxassist.com. And appreciate your time. Thank you.
Joe, really appreciate it, man.